Okay. All right. I'm about to play the first case of Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. This is the first game in the series. I'm gonna start at the first case in the series. In case you don't know what Phoenix Wright is, or Ace Attorney is, it's a game series where you basically do investigations and then you prove people innocent in court. And it's usually for murder. Actually, every case is murder, so it's a big deal. These aren't little civil disputes. We're talking murder cases. So it has two phases usually, which is investigation and then actually going to court. It's visual novel style. It's 95% text. Okay, it's a bunch of reading. There's no physical action to be had in the game. The enjoyment of the game comes from using your noggin. Gotta think. And sometimes it gives you straight up answers. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's basically just using logic. That's the best way I can think to put it. Yeah, just use logic. And sometimes it's very, very straightforward. Sometimes it ain't. Anyway, so we're gonna start with case number 1-1, and that's a naming convention that people in the Phoenix Wright fandom use. 1-1 means case number 1 in the first game. A person was to say case 3-4, that would mean the fourth case in the third game. Third game, fourth case. So this is case 1-1, first game, Phoenix Wright. Thing about the game is, since it is scripted and text heavy, once you've beaten a Phoenix Wright game, whether it's this one or one of the other ones, you pretty much know the outcome, and depending on how good your memory is, there won't be any surprises, or you might actually know exactly what evidence to present and when. That said, the replayability of this series isn't extremely high unless you go long periods of time between playing the game, where maybe you've forgotten what the evidence even is or how the script runs. So my last time playing the first Phoenix Wright was probably 4 or 5 years ago. I remember the cases very well, but I don't exactly remember the evidence and how the case panned out, how the cases panned out. So half of this might be me very well just breezing through it, and some of it might be me actually getting stumped. Anyway, I'm gonna start here. Start the game. Go to new game. And I have this on left and right screen. This should be top and bottom like an actual DS, but makes it bigger to do it left and right. Anyway, this is game 1, episode 1. First Turnabout. That's the name of the first case. Let's begin. Why me? I can't get caught. Not like this. I've got to find someone to pin this on. Someone like him. I'll make it look like he did it. That's another thing the game it depends on the case, but the prologue to every case, sometimes it might show you flat out who did it, just like it just did. And the enjoyment comes from simply trying to prove the person guilty. Other times, the prologue is pretty vague, and you have to get into the middle of investigation to actually find out who did it. So it really depends on the case. But this one showed you straight up. It's the introductory court scene from the first game. So it's giving you a breather, it's giving you a break. August 3rd, 9:47 a.m. District Court Defendant Lobby number 2. Boy, am I nervous. Okay, this is your court record. We'll get to that in a minute. Let me just read. Right. Oh, hiya, Chief. Phew, I'm glad I made it on time. Well, I have to say, Phoenix, I'm impressed. Not everyone takes on a murder trial right off the bat like this. It says a lot about you and your client as well. Thanks. Actually, it's because I owe him a favor. A favor? You mean you knew the defendant before the case? Yes. Actually, I kind of owe my current job to him. He's one of the reasons I became an attorney. Well, that's news to me. I want to help him out in any way I can, says Phoenix. I just really want to help him. I owe him that much. It's over. My life, everything, it's all over. Isn't that your client screaming over there? Yeah, that's him. Death, despair, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna die. Wow. It sounds like he wants to die. Yeah. It's butts. Nick! Hey there, Larry. Dude, I'm so guilty. Tell them I'm guilty. Be the death sentence. I ain't afraid to die. What? What's wrong, Larry? Oh, it's all over. I'm finished. I can't live on in the world without her. I can't. Who took her away from me, Nick? Who did this? Oh, Nick, you gotta tell me who took my baby away. The person responsible for your girlfriend's death? The newspapers say it was you. My name is Phoenix Wright. Here's the story. Our first case is a fairly simple one. A young woman was killed in her apartment. The guy they arrested was the unlucky sap dating her, Larry Butts, my best friend since grade school. Our school had a saying, when something smells, it's usually the Butts. In the 23 years I've known him, it's usually been true. He has a knack for getting himself in trouble. One thing I can say though, it's usually not his fault, he just has terrible luck. But I know better than anyone that he's a good guy at heart. That, and I owe him one, which is why I took the case to clear his name. That's just what I'm going to do. August 3rd, 10 a.m. District Court, courtroom number 2. Court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Larry Butts. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, this is your first trial, is it not? Yes, Your Honor. I'm a little nervous. Your conduct during this trial will decide the fate of your client. Murder is a serious charge. For your client's sake, I hope you can control your nerves. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, given the circumstances, I think we should have a test to ascertain your readiness. Yes, Your Honor. Hand shaking, eyesight fading. These weak arms are heavy. The test will consist of a few simple questions. Answer them clearly and concisely. Please state the name of the defendant in this case. Phoenix Wright, Larry Butts, the fan. But we know who the defendant is. Larry Butts. keep your wits about you and you'll do fine. Next question. This is a murder trial. Tell me, what's the victim's name? Ooh, I know this one. I read the case report to cover so many times. It's... wait. No way, I forgot. I'm drawing a total blank. Phoenix, are you absolutely sure you're up to this? You don't even know the victim's name. Oh, the victim. Of course I know the victim's name. I just forgot. Temporarily. I think I feel a migraine coming on. Look, the defendant's name is listed in the court record. Just touch the court record button and check it at any time, okay? Remember to check it often. Do it for me, please. I'm begging. Let's hear your answer. Who is the victim in this case? Faye, Cinder Block, or Cindy Stone? Simple. Go to your court record. This is where all the evidence is kept. And profiles are here. Mia Faye, chief attorney at Faye & Company, my boss and a very good defense attorney. The defendant in this case, a likable guy who was my friend in grade school. Cindy Stone, the victim in this case, a model. She lived in an apartment by herself. Winston Payne, prosecutor for this case, lacks presence, generally bad at getting his points across. So, you know it's Cindy Stone. Attorney's badge. No one would believe I was a defense attorney if I didn't carry this. And Cindy's autopsy report. Time of death, 7:31. Or, not 7:31. July 31st. Between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. Cause of death, loss of blood due to blunt trauma. Stone. And you can see names in this game are usually puns. Cindy Stone is a pun of it's a cinder block basically. The victim's name is Cindy Stone. Correct. Now tell me, what was the cause of death? You just looked that over. She died because she was poisoned, hit with a blunt object, or strangled. She was struck once with a blunt object. Correct. Answered all my questions. I see no reason why we shouldn't proceed. You seem much more relaxed, Mr. Wright. Good for you. Thank you, Your Honor. As I don't feel relaxed, that's for sure. Well then. First, a question for the prosecution. Mr. Payne? Your Honor? As Mr. Wright just told us, the victim was struck with a blunt object. Could you explain to the court just what that object was? The murder weapon was this statue of the Thinker. It was found lying on the floor next to the victim. I see. The court accepts this into evidence. Statue added to the court record. Evidence piles up. Get a lot of evidence depending on the case. This is the first case of the game. It's very, very straightforward and simple. And the logic used in this case is very straightforward and simple. It gets crazy later on, some of the things you have to do to prove, but that's later on. Right. Be sure to pay attention to any evidence added during the trial. That evidence is the only ammunition you have in court. Touch the court record button to check the court record. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its first witness. Calls the defendant, Mr. Butch, to the stand. Chief, what do I do now? Pay attention. You don't want to miss any information that might help your client's case. You'll get your chance to respond to the prosecution later, so be ready. Let's just hope he doesn't say anything unfortunate. Mr. Butch, is it not true that the victim had recently dumped you? Hey, watch it, buddy. We were great together. We were Romeo and Juliet, Cleopatra and Mark Anthony. Didn't they all die? I wasn't dumped. She just wasn't taking my phone calls or seeing me ever. What's it to you anyway? What you describe as generally what we mean by being dumped. In fact, she had completely abandoned you and was seeing other men. She had just returned from overseas with one of them the day before the murder. What do you mean, one of them? Lies, all of it, lies. I don't believe a word of it. Your Honor, the victim's passport. According to this, she was in Paris until the day before she died. Passport added to the court record. Indeed, she appears to have returned the day before the murder. Statue in the shape of the thinker. It's rather heavy. Victim apparently arrived home from Paris on July 30th, the day before the murder. Dude, no way! The victim was a model, but did not have a large income. It appears that she had several sugar daddies? Sugar? Yes, older men who gave her money and gifts. She took their money and used it to support her lifestyle. Dude! You can clearly see what kind of woman this Miss Stone was. Tell me, Mr. Butt, what do you think of her now? Right. I don't think you want him to answer that question. Yeah, Larry has a way of running his mouth in all the wrong directions. Did I... wait and see what happens? Stop him from answering. My client had no idea the victim was seeing other men. That question is irrelevant to this case. Winks. Dude, Nick, what do you mean irrelevant? That cheating she-dog, I'm gonna die. I'm just gonna drop dead. Yeah, and when I meet her in the afterlife, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Let's continue with the trial, shall we? I believe the accused's motive is clear to everyone. Yes, quite. This is so not looking good. Next question. You went to the victim's apartment on the day of the murder, did you not? Oh, did you or did you not? Well, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Uh-oh, he went. What do I do? Sir, honestly. Tell the truth. Yeah, I was there. I went. This is a lot of introductory stuff here, but this is not what the game is about, by the way. Well, it is about this. We're learning about the case, but this is not the meat of the trial. You'll see that in just a minute. Order. Well, Mr. Bucks, dude, chill. She wasn't home, man, so I didn't see her. Your Honor, the defendant is lying. Lying? The prosecution would like to call a witness who can prove Mr. Butts is lying. Well, that simplifies matters. Who was your witness? Man who found the victim's body. Before making the gruesome discovery, he saw the defendant fleeing the scene of the crime. Order in the court. Mr. Payne, the prosecution may call its witness. Yes, Your Honor. This is bad. On the day of the murder, my witness was selling newspapers at the victim's building. Please bring Mr. Frank Solid to the stand. Pretty sure you might recognize that guy's face, but he's not fooling anyone here. Mr. Solid. Saw it. Frank, by the way. Frankly saw it. Mr. Solid, you sell newspaper subscriptions, is this correct? Oh, yes, newspapers, yes. Mr. Solid, you may proceed with your testimony. Please tell the court what you saw on the day of the murder. This is the meat of the trials. This is the part that you play the court trials to get to. This is the good part. Basically, witnesses give their testimony. You gotta listen to everything they say, and then you can go back through each statement they say and look in the court record and find something that contradicts what they said. So you gotta find inconsistencies and whatnot. But you have to find out which statement. You have to select the statement that's incorrect, and then you have to find the evidence that matches that statement. So this first case is pretty simple. But you have two things to do. You can press a statement, which you ask more about it, or you could present evidence to the statement. When you present evidence to the statement, that's where you're going to be trying to point the inconsistency, and if you get it wrong, you'll get a penalty. Too many penalties, you lose the case. It's basically just using common sense a lot of the times, but a lot of the times it's beyond regular common sense. You just really got to think outside the box. And with this being the first case in the first game, this was pretty simple, but even here you'll see common logic used and a few tricky statements. So it's easy at first with this, but as you get deeper into the series and even deeper into just this game itself, the first one, it gets hard, and it's because the witness statements become more vague. They go from making blatant statements to very, very vague statements that are hard to prove wrong just because of how vague what they're saying is. Evidence gets more ambiguous, and the crimes start appearing to be more blatant against the defendant. There's some cases in this game and the rest of the games where it's like, according to the way the crime's presented at first, you can't possibly conceive a way to even prove the person innocent. It just looks so helpless from the very start. As a matter of fact, case 1-4, just the fourth case in this game, case 1-5, the fifth case in this game, it appears to be so helpless from the start. Anyone that hasn't played those cases before will absolutely have no idea how you can even possibly begin to prove the person innocent. But you can, and you do. But it really starts piling against you. And in case 1-5 in particular, the person you're trying to find innocent is even saying that she is guilty. She's saying it to you and the court and everything. So that makes it even harder. So anyway, let's get on with this. Gotta find the lies here, and sometimes it's not lies, sometimes it's just an ambiguous statement, or sometimes it's even a statement that's half truth, half lie, but we have to find out what's wrong with this testimony. Let's do it. I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. So that's one statement. Statements go by the block. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. Larry, why didn't you tell the truth? I can't defend you against a testimony like that. Incidentally, why wasn't the phone in the victim's apartment working? Your Honor, at the time of the murder, there was a blackout in the building. Aren't phones supposed to work during a blackout? Yes, Your Honor. However, some cordless phones do not function normally. The phone that Mr. Solid used was one of those. Your Honor, I have a record of the blackout for your perusal. Blackout record added to the court record. Now, Mr. Wright. Hold on, let's see here. Electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. Okay. Yes, Your Honor. You may begin your cross-examination. Cross-examination, Your Honor? Alright, Wright. This is it. The real deal. What exactly am I supposed to do? Why, you exposed the lies in the testimony the witness just gave. He was lying? Your client is innocent, right? Then that witness must have lied in his testimony. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty logical. Or is your client really guilty? How do I prove he's not? You hold the key. It's in the evidence. Compare the witness's testimony to the evidence at hand. There's bound to be a contradiction in them. First, find the contradictions between the court record and the witness testimony. Then, once you found the contradicting evidence, present it and rub it in the witness's face. Okay. Touch the court record button to point out the contradictions in the testimony. Okay, these exclamation points are how many penalties you're allowed. And should you actually run out of penalties, then you lose the case. That's all there is to it. Yeah, it's pretty simple, but this is how you do it. He said, I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. You know it's a lie, but there's probably nothing in your court record to prove that statement. Nothing in here. I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Attorney's badge is not going to help me with that. This isn't going to help me. This isn't going to help me. None of that helps. Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. Then I saw her lying there, a woman not moving, dead. I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. I thought to call the police immediately. However, the police in her apartment, or the phone in her apartment, wasn't working. I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. That's all of it. There must be a contradiction in there somewhere. Examine the court record button. Something strikes you as being suspicious. Then find the evidence that contradicts his testimony and present it to her. Okay, this is press and present. As a general rule, I always press every single statement in any testimony. You don't have to if you already know what the contradicting evidence is, but I like to do it just to get every bit of testimony out of a person. So I was going door to door selling subscriptions when I saw a man fleeing an apartment. Let's hit press on this one. Isn't a man leaving in an apartment a common sight? I find it odd you would take notice of him. I don't know. This seems strange to me, that's all. Like he was mad and yet frightened at the same time. Just like a criminal fleeing the scene of a crime. The defense requests that the witness refrain from conjecture. Of course, what the witness means is that the man he saw looked suspicious. So what happened next? I thought he must be in a hurry because he left the door half open behind him. Press. Half open, you say? Yes, the door was open halfway, yes. I watched for a moment, but no one came to close the door. That's odd in a big city like this, I thought. I see, and what happened next? Thinking it strange, I looked inside the apartment. What gave you the idea to do that? Well, the door was half open, you see. Isn't it only human to want to peek? We climb mountains because they're there. It's the same thing. Truer words have never been spoken. Anyone would look inside. Why did Payne cut him off so quickly? So, you looked into the apartment. What happened then? Then I saw her lying there, a woman, not moving, dead. Are you sure she was dead? Well, no, I guess I wasn't. But she wasn't moving at all, and there was blood everywhere. I guess that would look fatal to anyone. Very well, what happened next? I quailed in fright and found myself unable to go inside. So, you didn't touch anything in the apartment? Yes, I mean, no, nothing. Okay, what happened next? I thought to call the police immediately. Press. You thought to call the police? Does that mean you didn't actually call them? Please, listen to the rest of the testimony. Thought to call the police. What happened next? However, the phone in her apartment wasn't working. The phone in her apartment wasn't working? Yes, I mean, no, it wasn't. Right. But you said you didn't go into the apartment, or did you? Oh, that? I can explain that. There was a cordless phone on a shelf in the entranceway. I reached inside and tried using that to call. And that phone wasn't working, correct? What happened next? I went to a nearby park and found a public phone. Why use a public phone? Well, you see, I don't have a cell phone. And being the middle of the afternoon, there was no answer at the nearby apartments. Wow. Alright, what time did you call again? I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. I noticed something here. Let's go through here. Time of death, July 31st, between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. He really saw all of this around 1 p.m. How was this before the victim even died? So, this would be the statement, and Cindy's autopsy report would be the evidence you present. We know this already, but let's still press the statement before we present the evidence just to see what he says. "1 p.m., are you certain?" "Yes, absolutely." Seems really confident. Mia just chimes in. 1 p.m. Right, doesn't that seem strange to you? Present some evidence to contradict him. I remember the time exactly. It was 1 p.m. What was the next statement? First, the man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. I also want to press this statement. I like to get the press out of every statement, even if I have a good idea what the lie is. Are you absolutely 100% positive? Yes, it was him. No mistake about it. The witness says he's certain. The man who ran was, without a doubt, the defendant sitting right over there. That's all of it. Okay, we went through this before. Examine the court record, blah blah. Yes, we know. Okay, so we know which statement it is. Not that one. 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 It's this one. And this piece of evidence contradicts it.
Objection!
Present. Found the body at 1 p.m. You're sure? Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. If you happen to present the wrong evidence on the wrong statement, or even if it is the right evidence, but if it's the wrong statement, you'll get a penalty. Or if you just choose the wrong statement, choose the wrong evidence. Basically, if you don't find an actual contradiction that makes any sense, you get a penalty and lose one of your exclamation marks. When you lose all of them, you lose the case. That's how it works. Yes, it was 1 p.m. for certain. Frankly, get it, Frank? Frank saw it. Frankly, I find that hard to believe. Your statement directly contradicts the autopsy report. The autopsy notes the time of death at sometime after 4 p.m. There was nobody to find at 1 p.m. How do you explain this 3-hour gap? Sweating a bit? Oh, that. This is trivial. The witness merely forgot the time. Come on now. He's real certain. After his testimony, I find that hard to believe. Mr. saw it. Why were you so certain that you found the body at 1 p.m.? Gee, that's a really good question. Sure is, isn't it? Great job, right? Way to put him on the spot. That's all you have to do. Point out contradictions. Lies always beget more lies. Read through one and their whole story falls apart. Wait, I remember now. Would you care to give your testimony again? So now he's about to try to cover up what he said, and we're gonna have to bust him again. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It's probably coming from the television. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a tape program. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Terribly sorry about that misunderstanding. I see. You heard a voice saying the time on a tape program. Mr. Wright, you may cross-examine the witness. Right. You know what to do. I've got this one. A little logic, you probably already know what the lie was and all of that testimony. Not hard to figure out. Then again, like I told you before, this is just a first court case in the first game. Don't let this right here fool you. Though this right here is pretty straightforward and think that even a 3-year-old could follow the logic, later cases get really hard to bust. I'm gonna say they get really hard. I don't want to hype it up to be more than it is, but like I said before, just with their statements becoming more vague, evidence becoming more vague and ambiguous, crimes more blatant and looking like they 99% point to the person, to the defendant rather than the person on stand, it gets pretty tough. Anyway, let's bust them. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. That's what he said. Hold on, let me just demonstrate for you what happens if you present wrong evidence at a bad moment, or present evidence on the wrong statement or something. So I'm just gonna present her autopsy report on this statement here. You see, when I found the body, I heard the time.
Objection!
Your Honor, what do you think about the witness's statement? I'm not sure I follow. It clearly contradicts, I thought. Nope. You don't sound very convinced, Mr. Wright. Objection overruled. I don't think that won me any points with the judge. See, that's what happens. I lost one of these. So, if I lose them all, the judge stops the trial. Then my friend Larry Butts will be declared guilty rather than not guilty. So, okay, you see, when I found the body, I heard the time. Press. Said heard, not saw. Yes, heard. All I saw was the body lying there. I didn't think to look at anything else, least of all my watch. Isn't that a little strange? So you're saying you heard something, but if you were so shocked by the body, you wouldn't hear anything at all. The witness did say he actually heard the time. It's ludicrous to suggest that he wouldn't hear anything. I have to agree with the prosecution. Witness, continue with your testimony. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. Are you sure it was a television and not a radio? Well, no, I guessed it might have been a radio. Incidentally, there was no radio on the premises. There was only one large television. Right. I can't put my finger on it, but something about this seems fishy. Something about hearing the television. The witness has testified he heard the time. Oh, but it was 3 hours off, wasn't it? Press? How do you explain the gap? Well, witness, can you explain this? I guess the victim must have been watching a video of a tape program. Video? Yes, that would explain why the time was wrong. True. Right. I think the problem lies someplace else. We agreed that you heard the time at the scene then. That's why I thought it was 1 p.m. Are you sure the voice you heard said it was 1 p.m.? Yes, I can practically hear it now. It was quite clear. Mr. Payne, has the prosecution verified this testimony? My apologies, Your Honor. I, too, have only just learned that the witness heard the time. Oh, I'm really sorry. I only remembered it just now. Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. Well, you just watch it. Not much point pressing him on that one, was there? Terribly sorry about the misunderstanding. Notice anything suspicious? You see, when I found the body, I heard the time. Okay, we went through every statement. Keep these in mind. Autopsy report, time of death, July 31st, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Cause of death, loss of blood due to blunt trauma. A statue in the shape of a thinker, rather heavy. Victim apparently arrived home from Paris on July 30th, the day before the murder. Electricity to Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. No one would believe I was a defense attorney if I didn't carry this. Okay. Probably know already what's wrong with his testimony. See, when I found the body, I heard the time. There was a voice saying the time. It was probably coming from the television. But electricity in Miss Stone's building was out from noon to 6 p.m. on the day of the crime. So I don't know if you were hearing anything coming from the television, dude. Objection! Hold it right there. The prosecution has said there was a blackout at the time of the discovery, and this record proves it. You couldn't have heard a television or a video. The defense has a point. You have an explanation for this, Mr. Solid? No, I find it quite puzzling myself, quite. Wait, I remember now. Mr. Solid, the court would prefer to hear an accurate testimony from the very beginning. These constant corrections are harming your credibility. That, and you seem rather distraught. My apologies, Your Honor. It must have been the shock of finding the body. Very well, Mr. Solid. Let's hear your testimony once more, please. During the time. Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. That must have been what I saw. You saw a clock? I guess that would explain it. The defense may cross-examine the witness. Gladly. During the time. Actually, I didn't hear the time. I saw it. That strikes me as a very suspicious mistake. Yes, I can see how you'd be a little doubtful. I'm really sorry. I only just remembered that table clock. A table clock? There was a table clock in the apartment, wasn't there? A table clock? Was there a clock at the scene? This is the first I've heard of it. Yeah, the murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. It's a statue in the shape of a finger. It's rather heavy. The murder weapon is a clock? You can already see there's a problem there. Let's see what else he says. Press. The murder weapon? Yes, the table clock that was used as a weapon. That's what I just said. Did you throw us off in the middle of my testimony or something? Something's fishy here. That must have been what I saw. Why didn't you tell us that in the first place? I guess it just slipped my mind. What a slip. I'm not really sure how it happened myself. The witness says he saw the table clock in the story. Now find the contradiction. So, we pressed all the statements, but we know which one is wrong. The murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. Murder weapon is not a table clock. The murder weapon was this, so in this case, sometimes people are lying and sometimes people just say a little too much. And he basically just told on himself. You'll see what I mean. The murder weapon. The killer used it to hit the victim. Objection! Wait just a moment. The murder weapon wasn't a clock. It was this statue. Now how is this supposed to be a clock? You with your objections and your evidence. Just who do you think you are? Just answer the question, Mr. Solid. Hey, I saw it there, okay? That's a clock. Your Honor, if I may. Yes, Mr. Payne? As the witness stated, this statue is indeed a clock. Okay. Now, just using your brain a little bit. You already know that that's kind of weird because no one can tell that this statue is a clock offhand just by looking at it. Why did this guy know it's a clock? The neck is a switch. You just tilt it and it says the time out loud. As it doesn't look like a clock, I submitted it as a statue. My apology. I see. So the murder weapon was a table clock after all. Well, Mr. Wright, it appears that the witness's testimony was correct. This is a clock. Do you have any problems with this testimony now? No or yes? Yeah, well, yeah, there's a problem. Also, why did he know it was a clock? If he had never ever really been in that apartment fishing around, Your Honor, there's a gaping hole in the witness testimony. The only way he could have known the weapon was a clock is to hold it in his hand. Yet the witness testified that he never entered the apartment. Clearly a contradiction. Indeed, the witness knew it was a clock because he went to the apartment to the victim. Well, knowing the victim wouldn't necessarily tell him it's a clock because he went to the apartment. You're lying. You were inside the apartment on the day of the murder. Oh yeah? Prove it. Prove I wasn't there. I'll do better than that. I can prove you were the one who killed her. You struck her with the clock, and the shock of the blow triggered the clock voice. That was the sound you heard. Order in the court. Intriguing. Please continue, Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Solid, the sound must have left quite an impression on you. Understandable, since the murder weapon spoke just as you hit the victim. That voice was burned into your mind. That's why you were so certain about the time. What's the meaning of this? This is all baseless conjecture. Conjecture. Wow. Baseless? Just look at the witness's face. Would the witness care to elaborate? Did you strike the victim with the clock? That day, I never, look, the clock, I heard, no, I mean, I saw. Wow. Shut up. I hate you. It was him, I tell you. I saw him. He killed her and he should burn, give him death. Order in the court, I say. Your Honor, a moment please. There isn't a shred of evidence supporting the defense claims. Mr. Wright, Your Honor, you claim the sound the witness heard came from the clock. Do you have any evidence? The whole case is riding on this. I'd better think it through carefully. Yes, Your Honor. The sound Mr. Solid heard was definitely this clock. A fact which is clear if you simply examine the clock's batteries, ask the neighbors, try sounding the clock. I don't know how examining the clock's batteries is going to tell you anything. Or asking the neighbors. So try sounding the clock. You can also lose penalty points. You probably saw the exclamations pop up. You lose penalty points for choosing the wrong things there too. But I didn't lose a point. So I chose correctly. Let's sound the clock now, here in this court. Your Honor, may I have the clock? I ask the court to listen very carefully. Beep. I think it's 8:25. That certainly is a strange way to announce the time. Well, he is the thinker after all. So, we've heard the clock. What are your conclusions, Mr. Wright? Mr. Payne, can you tell me what time it is now? It's 11:25. Ack. As you can see, this clock is exactly 3 hours slow. 3 hours slow. 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. was the time of death. This dude said he heard 1 p.m. 3 hours. You can kind of see their connection they're making. But we already knew. We knew literally from the beginning of the game. It showed his face, but you know, precisely the discrepancy between what Mr. Solid heard and the actual time of death. So, Mr. Solid, try to talk your way out of this one. Haha. Forgot one thing. What's he talking about? While it may seem like that clock is running 3 hours slow, it proves nothing. How do you know it was running 3 hours slow on the day of the murder? If you can't prove that, you don't have a case. Right, how am I going to prove that? Damn it, I was so close. Mr. Wright, it seems you lack the critical evidence to support your claim. Yes, Your Honor. This means I cannot let you indict the witness. Unfortunately, this ends the cross-examination if Mr. Frank saw it. I come all the way down here to testify, and look what happens. They treat me like a criminal, You lawyers are all slime. Almost had him. Sorry, Larry. I failed you. There's nothing I can do about it now. Not so fast, Mr. Saw it. Yeah, Chief. Listen up, Wright. Don't throw this one away. Not like this. Think. But, Chief, it's over. I can't prove the clock was slow the day of the murder. Nobody can prove that. Well, yes. But that doesn't mean you can't still win. Try thinking out of the box. And this is a critical thing about the Phoenix Wright series, by the way. It usually comes towards close to the end of the trial, but you have to think differently and basically turn the whole case upside down. And a lot of the times, the whole premise of what you thought was the correct way to think about the case, or think about a certain piece of evidence, think about a person's story or anything, gets flipped upside down, and you realize that not all is what it seems. You'll see what I mean. Don't waste time doubting the facts. Assume the clock was 3 hours slow and think through it. Ask yourself, why was the clock 3 hours slow? Figure out the reason and you'll have your proof. Right? Can you think of a reason as why the clock would be 3 hours slow? Pretty self-explanatory. Does that make sense to you? Think about it. If the victim was overseas, then she likely had her clock set different. Wait, maybe I can prove it. You must have evidence somewhere that can prove it, right? Find it and let them have it. Well, Mr. Wright, say the clock was already running slow on the day of the murder. You found evidence to support this claim? Of course, there is a piece of evidence in the court record that can prove my claim beyond a doubt. Ah, tough words. Let's see you pull this one off. Let's see this evidence that proves why the clock was running slow. Passport.
Take that!
The victim had just returned home from abroad the day before the murder. As we all know, the time difference between here and Paris is 9 hours. It's 4 p.m. here, it's 1 a.m. the next day there. The clock wasn't 3 hours slow, it was 9 hours fast. That's what I meant about a lot of the things get just turned around. But it happens in much bigger ways in some cases. Sometimes the entire premise gets thrown around and you're like, wow, can't believe that was... I wasn't thinking about this correctly the whole time. Anyway, the victim had reset her clock since returning home. That's why the time you heard when you struck her dead, her apartment was wrong. Proof enough for you, Mr. Solid? Or should I say, Mr. Did It? That phone, gross. Order, I say. Well, this case has certainly turned out differently than we all expected. Mr. Mr. Payne, your client? He was arrested and has been taken away, Your Honor. Very well. Mr. Wright? Yes, Your Honor. I have to say, I'm impressed. I don't think I've ever seen someone complete a defense so quickly and find the true culprit at the same time. Thank you, Your Honor. At this point, this is only a formality, but this court finds the defendant, Mr. Larry Butts. And there you go, that's the first trial. Very simple. Very, compared to some trials, extremely simple. And with that, this court is adjourned. Turns out that Frank Sawyer was a common burglar. He posed as a newspaper salesman to check and see when people were out of the house. That day, Larry went to her apartment. The victim wasn't home. After he left, Mr. Sawyer let himself in to do his dirty work. And while he was searching her place, the victim returned. Flustered, Mr. Sawyer grabbed the nearest blunt object he could find. You know the rest. I still can't believe we won. Right. Good job in there. Congratulations. Thanks, Chief. I owe it all to you. Not at all, not at all. You fought your own battles. It's been a while since I've seen a trial end on such a satisfying note. Ever seen the Chief looking this happy? If she's this glad, imagine how Larry was for her. My life is over. Larry, I'm supposed to be happy. What's wrong now? Oh, Nick. Don't worry about me. I'll be dead and gone soon. Good. Wait, no, I mean, bad. Larry, you're innocent. The case is closed. But my Cindy Wendy's gone, man. Gone forever. Larry, she was a... Never mind. Congratulations, Harry. Harry Butts, GG. Yes, you. I can practically see the headlines now. Harry Butts, innocent. Thanks. I really owe you one. I won't forget this ever. Let's celebrate. Dinner, movie, my treat. Oh no, I couldn't. Hey, I was the one who got you off the hook. Oh, hey. Here, take this. It's a present. A present for me? Wait, wasn't this the evidence that... Actually, I made this clock for her. I made one for her and one for me. Really? You made this? Well, thank you. I'll keep it as a memento. Yo, Nick. You believe it? I was so into that chick. And she was just playing me for a fool. Don't that make you just want to cry? Larry. Neil. Says, are you sure? Excuse me? I think she thought quite a lot of you in her own way. Nah, you don't gotta sympathize with me. It's okay. Oh, I'm not just sympathizing, really. Is that right? Don't you have something to show your friend? Something that proves how she felt about him? Oh, yeah, right. What the heck is she talking about? Evidence that proves she liked him. The fact of the matter is, he said he made this statue and she took it with her overseas. So, let's use this.
Take that!
Check this out, Larry. Proof positive you weren't just some chump to her. Oh man, I'm coughing a lot, sorry. Huh? Where'd you get that clock? This is the clock you made for her, Larry. You took it with her when she traveled. She probably just needed a clock, that's all. Think so? It's a pretty heavy clock to take traveling. Well, make of it what you will. Hey, Nick, I'm glad I asked you to be my lawyer. Really, I am, thanks. I hope that made him feel a little better. Right? I hope you see the importance of evidence now. Also, hopefully you realize things change depending on how you look at them. People, too. We never really know if our clients are guilty or innocent. All we can do is believe in them. In order to believe in them, you have to believe in yourself. Right. Listen, learn, grow strong. Never let go of what you believe in. Ever. Well, I think our work here is done. Shall we be off? Yeah, I guess so. Say, how about dinner? On me. Drink a toast to innocent buds. Yeah. Speaking of Harry, you were saying part of why you became a lawyer was because of him. Or, yeah, part at least. You'll have to tell me more about it sometime. Maybe over drinks? You go. And so my first trial came to a close. Larry slapped me on the back and said, "Gee, Nick, it's good to have friends. But I'm pretty sure he's not going to pay me, unless you count the clock he gave Mia." Okay, now. There's a lot of... Well, I'm not going to say anything. I didn't know it then. But that clock was soon going to be at the center of another incident. Oh boy. And my promise to tell the chief about me and Larry would be one promise that I wouldn't be able to keep. The end. So, yeah, we got through that trial. We'll be continuing on. I'm gonna do part 2, the next case, but I have to say things get drastic off the start of the second case. And this first part was strictly court scene, presenting evidence. Most cases have what's called an investigation phase. And that's where you actually have to go to different places, investigate crime scenes, and talk to people and collect evidence for you to actually bring into court. So, it's about half investigation and half court. It's all scripted, but you still have to actually examine the crime scenes and talk to people and everything. But you'll see that in part number 2. And most of the cases, I think they have maybe 2 days of examination or investigation. I don't know why I keep saying examination. I'm thinking of the courtroom is where examination happens. Most have 2 days of investigation and maybe 2 days of court. So what you do is, like, a murder happens, you go around looking at evidence and talking to people to find out about it. You bring that evidence into court. Then you do the court phase, and you get to a high point in that, and then you'll go back and do more investigation, and then you'll go back to court. So, but we'll get to that next time. And yeah, but I hope you enjoyed this court phase. I'll explain the examination phase at the start of the next part. But something big happens in part number 2. as far as the story itself of the game goes. Something big. So stick around, and you'll see how crazy some of this stuff in Phoenix Wright gets. Yeah, stick around, and you'll see what happens next.